Start the work session. It's called to order. We only have a couple of items on the work session. One of them is to hear from P3 on the inspection report on the Montgomery building.
Everybody had a chance to read the report, understand it all? If you do, can you explain it to me? No. We did complete the asbestos and lead containing paint sampling at the Munsingware building. Sampled about 84 different samples for asbestos and 30 or 40 for paint. About half of them came back as asbestos containing material. There's two types of asbestos. There's friable and non-friable. Non-friable can be removed with normal demolition. If you've got floor tile and you're going to tear the building down and take the floor out anyway, you can just take the floor tile out with the slab. The problem with that is you have to take that material to a certified landfill. So sometimes it's almost as cheap just to go ahead and have an abatement company take that material out. The majority of what you had in the building that was asbestos was floor tile, mastic, and some insulation around the pipe. There was a little bit of the gypsum board, actually the coating on the gypsum board, a little bit of it had asbestos in it. But there is quite a bit. Most of it's contained either in the office area or in the very back of the building. So it's kind of centrally located. I would say 75% of the asbestos is in the office area. So it's not a large area, but you do have a good bit of asbestos containing material.
Friable or not friable?
Majority of it's non-friable. Majority of it's floor tile and mastic, which can, like I said, it can be removed with the building. If you're going to demo it, you have to keep it wet all the time. And but the problem with that is you've got to take it to a certified landfill. Normally, if you're going to take a concrete slab out, you're not going to take it to a landfill. You can take it about anywhere.
Is email our closest landfill for that sort of stuff?
So email. One I'm aware of. There may be some others around. That's probably the closest one. If you're looking for cost, I don't have you a cost on what it would take to abate all these. There are several asbestos demolition contractors. They can take this report and give you a price. If you want us to, we can help you get some bids. That won't cost you anything to do that. We can get 3 or 4 companies to come in and look at it, take this report, and work you up an estimate on what it would take to have that material removed. If you're looking to demo the building, if you're looking to remodel the building, that's going to need to be done at some point in time. So if you
Would it be in our best interest to decide before we get somebody to give us an estimate if we're going to do the demolition or refurbish the building?
I don't think it's not going to matter to those
It's not
abatement
gonna matter.
contractors. They're going to be looking at just removing that material. One problem you have with friable asbestos is it has to be contained, so they will have to put up some sheeting and clean the air. A little bit more complicated than just removing floor tile. Some of the insulation around the pipes was friable asbestos, so it's going to be a little more expensive to remove that type of stuff than it is the floor tile.
Give me a definition of friable.
It's probably here somewhere. It's basically how it releases to the air. A friable is going to release to the atmosphere. I'm not really sure of the technical definition, but that's the gist of it. And when you remove the non-friable, you can wet it down and just take it out. When you remove friable, you've got to contain the atmosphere.
Because it gets in the air.
You can. So I'm assuming it's maybe finer particles. But if you want us to, we can go ahead and have some contractors come take a look at it and give you an estimate. That's not going to cost you anything to do that. It'll give you a better idea of dollar-wise what you're talking about. They will need a copy of this report in order to give that price to you.
We can bring that up in the council meeting and vote on it.
What did you find besides asbestos? Did you find lead?
There was some lead paint on some of the walls. Not a tremendous amount of it. Most of it up in the office area.
Anything else?
No, that was it.
Would this paint have to go to a landfill?
It would.
And,
Now, depending on the concentration of it, some of that could be removed with the demolition of the building if the concentration of lead is a certain percentage. So some of that on those larger block walls that are painted, that's got lead-based paint, it could be just removed with the block because the concentration is so small.
Well, that's why I asked, would it be better for us to decide if we want to demolish the building or refurbish it? Because it wouldn't have to be hand taken out on a lot of that,
On the lead-based paint, it wouldn't. On the asbestos, it's gonna have to be, it's almost gonna be cheaper to remove it prior to demolition on the asbestos. Because otherwise, you're gonna have to take those sections of concrete up and take all of it to a landfill versus just taking the floor tile.
Was it just the building, or did you inspect the ponds, and how
We
many?
just did the building.
Just the building.
Yeah, we were looking for asbestos and lead-based paint, the two primary things inside the building. If you've got a copy of the report, there's a couple of maps in there that show you where we found where we took the samples, where we found the asbestos containing material. I think that's over in appendix C or D. Appendix C. It's got a drawing, I don't know if yours, you got a color copy or not. You can see the ones that did contain asbestos and the ones that did not. Most of it is concentrated up in the office area.
you don't have a road map.
You don't have appendix C.
How much, this is almost like a redneck estimate, how much percentage-wise would you say the building has asbestos problems compared to 20%?
Less than 40%.
Less than 1%? The rest of it could just be torn down.
Yeah, obviously, the manufacturing area didn't have floor tile, it's a concrete floor, so the floor tile was more concentrated in the office area, up on the front end of the building.
Does concrete make it difficult to tear that thing down? I mean, that's pretty steady, sturdy stuff, looks like.
So as far as demoing the entire building,
Yeah.
it'd be an expensive project to demo the building. Of course, you're gonna have some salvage value there from the steel. If you went out for bids on a demolition project, the contractor's gonna look at the salvage value, what he can get out of the material. One thing you also need to consider, if you do a demolition, complete demolition of the building, you're obviously gonna have a large hole there in the basement. So you need to do something to fill that area in or slope it off so it's not a hazard.
What if the floor tile was taken up, and then you could do away with your concrete in a normal way? Could that not be used to fill in the basement
You could,
area?
you could, as long as it's clean concrete with no asbestos on it, it could be put on site there. Brick and concrete, brick, block and concrete.
I think the brick and block can be salvaged too.
Good.
There's people that will buy that.
Compared to rebuilding, I mean, renovating the building, I know that's not what this study's looked at. I mean, would it be perhaps harder to renovate it, or harder to tear it down, or more expensive?
A lot of it depends on what the use is. If you're going,
Yeah.
if you're going to build if you're going to use the entire building and renovate that much space,
Yeah.
probably looking $100 to $125 a square foot to renovate a building, depending on the use, you know.
Well, I saw an estimate that was done last administration on what it would cost to renovate the building. And I believe Hankins did that.
Yeah,
So it's quite significant.
it is.
And I don't know if it would be more or less than that. I don't know what you used in that calculation, how much a square foot. But
Yeah, over the years, we've looked at several different options of only renovating the front office and renovating the entire building. And I'll be glad to get copies of all those, or look at any combination.
It's 185,000 feet.
I think that's about right.
Square feet,
That's about right.
approximately, and 125.
You know, I'm just throwing a number out there, $125 a square foot, depending on what type of structure. You know, if you're going in with a finished building, like a city hall, or if you're going in with more of a warehouse type, definitely be less with the warehouse type. If you're going with a finished building, probably $100 to $125 a square foot.
Well, that building was given to us for a reason, and we all know what that reason was. Because it has asbestos in it, and they didn't want to mess with it. So they just give it to the city, which we shouldn't have took it, really, if we was going to come out ahead.
on the, comparing us to you, I know they just finished finishing up on the health building. And I know they had to have the study done like we are doing. And they also had to hire somebody to come in and take out the material that was hazardous. In comparison to them, how much asbestos have we got in lead paint in
You got
comparison?
a significant amount more than they did.
We
They had
got more.
maybe 3 small rooms of tile and a couple of awnings outside that were asbestos containing. Very small amount of asbestos in that building, considering the size of it. And I want to say their cost was around $15,000 or so to abate all that,
You're right.
but it was a very small quantity. You've got a lot larger quantity of stuff that's got to be removed. All theirs was non-friable, it was floor tile and mastic, where you've got some insulation that's got to be removed. It'd be hard to compare those two, it's kind of a different scale.
So if we're looking at a lot of money, either one.
If you look at a lot of money to remove this asbestos. And I don't want to give you a price on that, I'd rather the removal contractors do that.
When can they do that?
I can send it out to them tomorrow if you want me to, and they'll probably a week or so can give you a price.
Well, I think that would help us make our decision if we knew, and they're gonna come in and look at it and give us a cost estimate without.
They will, it's not gonna cost you anything. They'll basically take our report and they'll come down and look at the material, give you a price at no cost.
That's for removing the asbestos and everything, might be a concern. How many companies can we get a bid on?
We can get as many as you want. I've got three or four that I know of that I can get pretty quick.
I'll just use this calculator here, so.
I think that cost 23 million.
Well, now, obviously, 180,000 square foot, you're not gonna renovate all of it into usable space, more than likely. You're gonna leave some of it as storage or warehouse.
But I think with the estimate I saw, that we did just use part of it to be renovated, it was like 11 million.
Yeah,
And that was a while back, maybe more than
could be.
that. Okay, thank you,
All right.
sir. Anybody got any more questions for him? Anybody in the audience got a question for Mr. Reed here?
Is this pertaining to the Munson Ware building?
Yes, sir?
I guess I'm coming in as a cow's tail, but, what is the recommendation?
He's not making a recommendation, all he's doing is telling us what we've got over there. They went in and did an assessment and found lead paint and asbestos that will have to be, we'll have to get somebody in there to take it out. So he's not actually making a recommendation tonight. He's just telling us what was found in the building.
So there's no estimate on to correct those discrepancies.
That's what we're talking about, getting some estimates from contractors to remove that material.
I didn't understand. What did you just say?
This report basically tells the city what's in the building, and now we go out to contractors that remove this type of material, and they can take this report and give the city an estimate on what it would take to remove the material.
Okay, thank you.
You'd have to do that either way, whether you tore it down or renovate it. That would have to be done.
Any more questions? Okay, thank you, Heath, I appreciate it. We had one other item that I wanted to discuss with the council tonight, and that is the Yamaha place is expanding their lot over there, and they've got the great dozer work done. I believe they've already started some blacktopping back there. They're gonna put up a new fence, and over the years, the fence that's there, it's been hit several times and knocked down. And I can understand that because I think about a year or so ago, we put up a fence, the city did, and the cemetery committee over at the cemetery, and we have already had part of that knocked down. It's just been repaired in the last few months. But what the Yamaha people are asking us is there anything the city can do, like putting up some kind of a, I guess, post or barrier, to where if somebody ran in there, it wouldn't come in on their fence, or either some signs, that could be put up that maybe would be reflective of the light that people could see in the dark, when they came in there to keep them from hitting that fence. Ms. Williams, I think this is just open for discussion right now. We couldn't make a decision tonight. I know we can't get on private property, it'd have to be on the city's right of way. And I have to have somebody go out there and look and see where that right of way comes to, and where you're gonna put your fence and everything.
How long of an area is it, that would need to have some kind of protection in front of it?
Well, all along from where that top of that hill, the bank, from the bank on out towards the building, starting from the north end. And they don't go up on the bank and whatnot, it's after they get to the top of that, the bank there, and then they just come right on through the fence, as they have in the past and whatnot. We've had it happen 3 or 4 times, but that fence is no deterrent to them when it's happened. They just tear it down, come on through.
It'll be about 150 to 200 foot.
We'll just have to look into it, see what the cost would be, and see if it's on our property, and then see if there's anything that we can do. But I can sympathize with you on the problem that you got, that's for sure.
We'll need to talk to Kevin and see what his suggestion is in the street department
Yeah.
and see what he has to say.
Okay, this concludes our work session, and our council meeting will start in, 15, about 13 minutes.
15,000 square foot, and I think their price was $15,000 to demolish that building because of the salvage value of the steel that the contractor was able to obtain. And you're gonna have that same case here with all the steel and, I don't think there's any copper left in that building, but all the steel that's there.
There's some coppers left, but it's leaving real fast, that's another problem.
Yeah.
Was the security worked out the other day?
We've got it secure now, as far as, we got chains and locks on all the fences, and we've got the door down and it is secure. But now they've cut 3 chains off of that in the last few months.
Undetermined,
So-
determined.
Yeah, it would definitely be cheaper to demolish that building than try to renovate it.
You don't have any estimation of what it might cost us to get this all removed, I guess.
I don't know.
Okay,
I'd rather-
that's what we're gonna
Yeah,
be.
I would rather those contractors to do that
Yeah.
way. Price.
Well, we've already talked to one, and we feel like we'll be in good shape to take it down, and they'll salvage everything. They'll take the brick, the block.
Are you talking
Steel.
about the asbestos or talking about just removing?
No, I'm not talking about the hazardous material, that's us. We'll have to do that. But then, we've got a 40 to 48 acre piece of land with, how many acres? 40 piece of land that if we don't have to spend any more than, say, 50,000. And, that we've got a lot of value in once it's cleaned up.
So the city's gonna have some cost on it.
You got some cost in removing the hazardous material.